Humanity is at a historical low point in achieving what could be considered healthy sexuality. The abundance of pornography, lack of genuine social contact, and reliance on dating apps have led us into the era of disconnection. Sexuality is one of the most powerful forces a human can possess, not only for creating life, but also as a path to enlightenment when harnessed correctly. When used with awareness, it can shatter personal barriers, unravel deep-seated traumas, and bring one to a state of absolute bliss. If sex was there purely for procreation, there would be no need for an orgasm. Many animals reproduce without experiencing pleasure, while humans primarily engage in sex for enjoyment. Ancient practices like Kundalini Yoga and Tantra have long recognized sexual energy as sacred, viewing it as a conduit to enlightenment. Yet, in the West, we have swung between extremes, moving from Christian guilt and shame to a culture of sexual encounters that often leave people feeling unfulfilled. The illusion of sexual freedom, sold to us by the media, has resulted in a paradox. We are more sexually liberated on paper, yet more disconnected than ever. The mastery over one's body, pleasure, and ability to share intimacy has been lost. Sex is reduced to positions in book rather than an experience of connection, energy exchange, and spiritual expansion. In abandoning shame, we have embraced a form of freedom that often still leads to emptiness and guilt. We were given sexual liberty, yet no guidance on healing the deep generational wounds that continue to shape our experiences. The shame of past generations does not simply vanish, it lingers within us, influencing how we relate to intimacy. People often impose rigid boundaries on sexual energy. Some argue that monogamy is the only path to its true expression. Others insist polyamory is the answer. Yet both are merely stops on an individual journey rather than the ultimate destination. Sexual energy resists being placed in a box. It thrives in freedom. Every attempt to control it creates resistance. Its nature is to flow, filling the body and soul with vitality. Any effort to suppress or restrict it causes discomfort and misalignment. Sexual energy is perhaps the most distorted force in human experience, shaped by society, religion, media, and pornography. Much of what we see is not a reflection of true sexual liberation, but rather a reaction to collective trauma. This misalignment manifests in physical ailments, STDs, reproductive disorders, and imbalances in body. Instead of listening to our inner needs, we follow societal scripts, mistaking rebellion for healing. Many women attempt to overcome sexual shame by engaging in detached encounters, but instead of liberation, they often find themselves in an even less secure space for their energy to flourish. Christian guilt, ingrained in our root and sacral chakra, distorts our desires and conditions us to see them as unnatural. Even acknowledging pleasure as a valid pursuit has been suppressed. To navigate sexuality in a healthy way, one must reconnect with the heart. Without this connection, how can we discern whether we are honoring or harming ourselves? Many of us have never done the inner work required before sharing sexual energy with others. We have been shamed for self-exploration, often more than for being touched by others. As a result, we don't fully understand our own needs. Movements that awaken sexual energy have been demonized, yet all they do is make us feel alive. Sexual energy is the life force energy. Misconceptions about love have further complicated our relationships with sexuality. We have been conditioned to believe that love must be exclusive, confined to monogamous relationships. Yet in many cases, monogamy stems more from a need to control than from a genuine desire for a deep connection. It often reflects an attempt to affirm self-worth, proving that one is enough for another person. Instead of embracing the fluid nature of desire, we cling to the idea that love must come with exclusivity, even at the cost of personal growth. The repression of sexual energy does not eliminate desire, it corrupts it. Every sexual crime stems from suppression, from energy that has been denied expression until it festers and mutates into something unnatural. Entire generations inherit these distortions, leading to inevitable breaking points. Human beings are not inherently rapists or predators. It is the restriction and shame surrounding sexuality that push some towards these extremes. This is evident in societies where religious dogma enforces rigid sexual control. Historically, sexually liberated cultures thrived. Tribal communities had fluid expressions of intimacy, and India embraced sensuality until colonial morality imposed rigid constraints. Religions, especially Abrahamic traditions, have sought to control sexuality not to protect society, but to maintain power. By dictating who we can love and how we can express desire, they assert authority over the most primal aspect of human existence. Societies that have embraced repression have also seen the highest rate of sexual misconduct. True freedom comes from mastery over one's sexual energy, but not by controlling it, but by deeply understanding it. When one achieves this level of awareness, sexual energy ceases to overwhelm the psyche. Instead, it becomes a wellspring of power that can be challenged into creativity, art, music, focus, and manifestation. Rather than being a force that dictates our actions, it becomes a tool for conscious evolution. Sexual energy is not meant to be feared, shamed, or recklessly indulged. It is meant to be honored, understood, and harnessed as a transformative power that it truly is. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please do subscribe. Thank you very much.